The following is a pre-recorded edition of Snowman in the Morning, only on the Arena Sports Network.
Good morning.
This is Snowman in the Morning on the Arena Sports Network.
Paint the town, take a bow, thank everybody. You're gonna do it again. You are the few, the crowd.
Did you miss me? Well, I missed you guys. Couldn't go on Friday because I had a road trip with Trinity International, and it was early and couldn't go on Friday, but I am back this morning. This is Snowman in the Morning on the Arena Sports Network, and we thank you all for joining us. We are presented by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. And we are also presented by Slugmaster, baseball and softball hitting and training aids. Slugmaster, turning batters into hitters. Call 708-705-7354. Visit us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/snowmaninthemorning. And also, please visit Twitter as well. You can find us there. Tweet us at Snow Morning Show as well as at Arena Sports 13. Lots to get to this morning. In 3 minutes, Rusty Silber will be with me for Rusty's morning wrap-up. He'll definitely talk a little football, and I know he's got a few surprises for me. I can't wait to hear from my good buddy Rusty Silber. 18 after the hour, the game. I'll talk about the game of the night in Indianapolis, the Colts and the Broncos, the return of Peyton Manning, and not a dry eye in the house. And there were so many. There were all cheers. Michael and I talked about it during the afternoon show. There were all cheers at Lucas Oil Stadium for a person who has been their quarterback for 14 seasons. And I tell you what, it lived up to all the hype and then some, and it may have been a possible preview for January. Get to that, and I'll have a special friend talking with me about that. 18 after the hour. Let me say hello to a good friend of mine. His name is Brian Davis, known as Professor Davis, and he hosts BayAreaSportsWeekly.com. He is the sports director for that. And he is tuning in this morning. It's an early morning from him. Live from San Francisco, California, the home to my beloved 49ers. So, Professor Davis, thank you for tuning in. My buddy Ronald Murchison tuning in as well. Thank you for all the support. And I want to thank the fans for all the support that they have given me during what is starting to become personally, for me, a very turbulent time. But I am not going to let the outside forces of this turbulence stop me from what I'm doing and what I love to do. I'm going to talk more about this during the second half of the show. My buddy Ronald Murchison, my other buddy Eric Larimore, talk with him throughout the course of the weekend. Corey Kablugan, who I think I said his name right. If I didn't, please forgive me. I think, I think I said his name right. He and I, when Trinity traveled to McKendree in Lebanon, Illinois to play the Bearcats, which was the first time I had a chance to meet my good buddy Adam Young in person, he and I roomed together at the hotel we were staying, Holiday Inn and Suites in Lebanon. And he was one of the first on the team to discover my love for recently departed Jim Durham, play-by-play broadcaster for many years with the Bulls and then the Mavericks and then ESPN. And he and I was up having a late night conversation, and I was telling him everything that's going on. And he said something. He said, "You know what, Brian, despite the fact that some people you thought were close to you are turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to all of your troubles, do not let them stop you from what you want and love to do." And that is so true. That is absolutely so true. And I'm not gonna let it stop me. It's not going to stop me from doing what I love, And the people that are bringing the turbulence, bring the turbulence as hard as you can, because I will tell you right now, it's not going to stop me from doing what I love to do. And dagnabbit, I pressed the wrong button again. I did this Thursday, and Rusty is so going to yell at me. He's looking at me right now. I pressed the wrong button again, and that always seems that it's actually happened a lot lately. It's really happened a lot lately. But we got Rusty on the line, courtesy of Gigahertz. It's time for Rusty's morning wrap up. Time to talk a little football, and time to talk about good buddy Rusty Silber. Good morning, Rusty.
Wait a minute, press the wrong buttons. Is that somewhere around the Bears yesterday? They pressed the wrong button at the end of the game with lack of defense, or what?
Some wrong buttons were pushed in the nation's capital yesterday, you think?
I just wonder how many Bears fans that were upset yesterday with throwing stuff at the TV at the end of that game when the defense couldn't even stop Archie the third, if he kept rolling down the field. I'm not sure. It wasn't me. Trust me. I wasn't the one screaming, but I wasn't too happy watching it.
You and quite a few other Bear fans I know.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's go to the sports. Good morning, Brian. Everybody, welcome to Monday after the weekend. Rusty's Morning Sports Wrap presented by TCF Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. Bears suffered a lot of hurt around the football field on Sunday in a 45-41 loss to the Redskins in Washington, D.C., or outside of Landover, Maryland. Quarterback Jay Cutler left the game with a groin injury in the second quarter. Josh McCown came on in relief, threw for 204 yards and a touchdown. But there were more injuries on the depleted defense that included Lance Briggs and Peanut Tillman. Devin Hester, though, returned a punt, returned for 91 yards for a touchdown, and that tied a record set by Deion Sanders. Running back Matt Forte rushed for 3 touchdowns. First Bears player to do that since 1995.
Wow.
Bears will get a well-needed day off next week with a bye week. By the way, the Bears dropped to 4-3 along with the Lions after they lost to the Bengals 27-24 in Detroit. Packers moved into first place with a 31-13 victory over the Browns at 4-2 with some hideous uniforms.
Yeah, hideous being the operative word.
Kansas City's the only unbeaten team at 7-0, and Peyton Manning and Denver lost to the Colts in Indy 39-33. It was the return of Manning to Indianapolis, who got a standing ovation before the game. College football, NIU Notre Dame picked up wins on Saturday, while Northwestern Illinois suffered tough losses. First BCS poll is out with Alabama at number 1 ahead of Florida State and Oregon. Ohio State was 4, Missouri 5th. NIU is at number 18. That's 7-0. Major League Baseball National League, St. Louis shut out the LA Dodgers 9-0 on Friday night and win the series 4-2, while the American League Boston upended Detroit 5-2 Saturday night and also won its series 4-2. The World Series begins Wednesday evening. Red Sox will host the Cardinals in Boston. Pacers, the other night, 103-98, going 5-0 in the preseason. Derrick Rose scored 32. Bulls were shorthanded without Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler, and Kurt Heinrich. Both host the Bucks this evening at the United Center. Blackhawks netted a 3-1 victory over the Maple Leafs Saturday night and will next face the Panthers in Florida tomorrow night. Auto racing, chase for the Cup. James McMurray won the race under caution at the Talladega Superspeedway. Jimmy Johnson, though, has taken over the points lead. Soccer, the Fire picked up a well-needed 1-0 victory over Toronto FC on Saturday night at Toyota Park. Fire with the win are 4th in the Eastern Conference with a shot at the MLS playoffs with 1 match remaining. Lastly, though, Brian, the NFL lost one of its famed coaches. Bum Phillips passed away at the age of 90 years old over the weekend. He was the coach of the Houston Oilers back in the 70s and 80s. He had some great teams over the years, and he will be missed. Rusty Silver for the Arena Sports Network, and don't forget to visit TCF Bank for more information.
Thank you, Rusty. I will talk to you tomorrow morning. Thank you, buddy.
All right, have a great day.
Rusty Silber for Rusty's Morning Wrap. When we come back, I'll wrap up the action in Tennessee. After this on the Arena Sports Network.
Gigahertz, providing customers with excellent service since 2008. Computer problem? Leave it to the staff at Gigahertz, priding themselves with an unparalleled work ethic and continuing to offer customers the lowest prices around. Gigahertz services include PC repair, networking, PC setup, custom PC builds, pickup and delivery, in addition to in-home and in-office service. Get small to large business solutions, service contracts, and much more. Computer problems? Gigahertz. And that's where we come in. Gigahertz for your computer repair and solution needs. In-home, in-store, wherever it's convenient for you. Think your PC's infected? Gigahertz offers free virus diagnostics, with most virus removals done in 48 hours or less. Plus, they'll optimize your PC. Take that, Best Buy. Give Gigahertz a call. 219-218-9323. That's 219-218-9323. Or log on to gigahertzpc.net. Gigahertz, and that's where we come in.
Did you miss me? I began the show with that question. Well, I missed you guys. Snowman in the Morning back, presented by Fusion Ions Bands, Live Your Best, and by Slugmaster, baseball and softball hitting and training aids. Official bank of the Arena Sports Network is TCF Bank. TCF, surprisingly, TCF. Well, I'm going to pick a few games to go over before the second half of the show. And for my buddy Brian Davis, I'm going to go to Nashville, Tennessee, where the 49ers picked up their fourth consecutive win, 31-17, the final over the Tennessee Titans. Though I am encouraged, the only discouraging thing for me, the 49 and the rest of the 49er fans that I know, they allowed 17 fourth quarter points to a team that they had down 24-0 at the half. You can say what you want about mop-up duty, but that's the only gripe that I have about this game. It should have been a shutout, but nonetheless, a win is a win is a win. And next week they go to London to face the winless Jacksonville Jaguars, and I have the distinct feeling Joshua Jackson is going to be blowing up my phone sideways talking about that game. Colin Kaepernick threw for 199 yards and ran for 68 and a touchdown. With the first of this two-game road trip in their pocket, they pick up a win over Jacksonville next weekend, and they go right into the bye with a 6-2 record. They built a 17-0 halftime lead. Frank Gore ran for a pair of 1-yard touchdowns. Jim Harbaugh said, quote, "This was a big game, and we were treating it like the biggest game of the season. It was our next game. This was Game 7 for us, and we were treating it like Game 7 for us. And we were treating it like Game 7 of the World Series, of the Stanley Cup. Now, next game will be Game 8, close quote. Tremaine Brock picked off a pass, and Justin Smith had two of the 49ers' 3 sacks, and Kasim Osgood recovered a muffed punt for a touchdown. Now, Professor Davis, I know you're listening. Like I said, the only gripe that I have, and many people who know me, yes, I was born and raised here in Chicago, but many people who know me know I've been a 49er fan since the days of Joe Montana, and I get this question all the time from folks that I run into. How can you be in Chicago and you be a San Francisco 49ers fan? Isn't that wrong? No, that is not wrong. And the reason I became a 49er fan for life is his name is Joe Montana. The day that he found Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone on January 10th, 1982, during the NFC Championship, I became a 49er fan for life because that is how you win a key game. And remember, in that game, the 49ers turned the ball over 6 times. And they still won that game, 28-27. But be that as may, that's why I became a 49er fan and will always be a 49er fan. And as far as the win over Tennessee, it's a great one. They're 5-2 right now. They're a game out of first in the NFC West. Remember, Seattle, we will see you in Candlestick Park on December the 8th. And I wouldn't be surprised if that game turned into a Sunday night game. Got a question for us? You can post a question on our Facebook page, and you can also tweet us at Snow Morning Show, or you can do this. Give us a text on the text line at 312-548-1386. The best questions get read and answered on the air beginning tomorrow morning. Text your questions, folks. Now, getting back to the 49ers Tennessee game. Jake Locker was back after 6 weeks. Did you not get the feeling, Niner Empire, and that's the name of a Facebook group that I post in often, did you not get the feeling, Niner Empire, that it was going to be an easy game? Just like, the game last year is what I'm trying to say, where that can happen would be the other game where that happened last year would be the Jets, when the Niners were reeling a little bit. They had just come off a loss to Minnesota, and you didn't know if they were going to do well or whatever. But they shut out the Jets 34-0. They beat the Titans 31-17. And they took care of business. They absolutely took care of business. And I expect them to do that next weekend in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now I want to talk about the game of the night in Indianapolis, Indiana, the return of Peyton Manning, who was showered with nothing but cheers before the game from some 70,000 Colts fans. It was Peyton Manning, the teacher, versus Andrew Luck, the student, and it lived up to every bit of the hype that it was supposed to live up to, and then some. And I got a friend who is in Oklahoma right now, who is a Colts fan and a fellow broadcaster. John Herrick now joins me via the Gigahertz hotline. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. How about that Colts-Broncos game last night? A possible preview for January, perhaps?
Yeah, you never know. It may turn out that way, and boy, it was a long game. I knew just from the way the first half went that it would probably end late. Both quarterbacks love to throw the ball, and it definitely lived up to every single bit of hype. And I think that it was a total team win, for the Colts. And there were times where the passing game wasn't doing well, the running game picked them up. There were times where the defense made some big plays. I know that Denver, they still gave up 33 points, but when Denver comes in averaging 44 points a game, I think you got to consider the fact that you held them to 33, a pretty big victory. But yeah, you kind of know that it's going to be a huge game, but you don't always quite know what to expect, considering how great both quarterbacks are and how good both teams have been all year. It could go either way, but needless to say, I was a little surprised that the Colts were leading 36-17 at one point. I figured Denver had another run in them. They did. They came back. They made it very interesting and almost pulled it off had it not been for that Ronnie Hillman fumble down on the goal line. But yeah, very, very exciting. And even though I had to get up really early this morning, I didn't really want that game to end. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to see. And, you and I talked via Facebook briefly last night, and I thank you again for coming on this morning. It could be a possible preview for late January. The only thing that needs to be determined if it'll be at Mile High or if it'll be at Lucas Oil.
Yeah, and who knows how that'll turn out. I mean, right now, the biggest thing that's standing in the Broncos' way is the Kansas City Chiefs, and Kansas City is 7-0 now, and the Broncos have one loss. And as usual, what determines home field in the NFL is whether or not you win your division. And you got to be able to win your division if you want to get a home playoff game. The Colts, I think it's pretty safe to say, they're not really going to be challenged by anybody in the AFC South. The Texans are a mess. The Jaguars are one of the worst teams in the league. The Titans quarterback situation has been up and down, and they've been having some issues, even though they got off to a pretty good start. But then if you're Denver, if you may end up with a great regular season record, but if Kansas City finishes ahead of you, which is strangely enough a very strong possibility, then you end up having to go on the road, and you'll have to go to Lucas Oil Stadium if the Colts end up with a better with a division win. So it's just strange how that stuff happens. I remember back in 2008, we won we were a wild card team, 12-4, but the San Diego Chargers were 8-8, and they won their division. So we had to go on the road and play them in a wild card game because of the fact that they had won their division and we hadn't. So you never know how those whole scenarios shake out. It'll be interesting to see how that happens throughout the rest of the year.
John Herrick joining me from Oklahoma, big Colts fans from Indy. And, John, before I let you go, I got this for you. Wouldn't it be fun, either way, be it in Denver or wouldn't it be fun to see these two hook up again? And if that would be the case, you have to wonder how many points and how many yards would be put up in that game, because there was an excess of 700 yards of offense last night.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it was it started out pretty slow.
Yeah, it did.
Both teams were trying to run the ball, so it was kind of crazy to see how both teams started the game slow, and then all of a sudden the pace picked up frenetically. I'll tell you one thing, though, that could determine the outcome of whether or not that game, how many yards and points are put up. If the Colts don't have Reggie Wayne, that could make a big hit for their offense. So we'll have to see what his injury status is. I'm sure some news will be released later today, but hopefully it is nothing too serious, because they definitely need his presence out there. And they got other weapons, but they're going to definitely need him out there, especially come playoff time.
John Herrick joining me on the Gigahertz Hotline, talking Colts and Broncos, a possible preview for late January. John, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate the time.
Hey, thanks, Brian. No problem.
Got more NFL stuff on the way, and then we'll go inside the journey during the second half of the show, and I will wrap up the Bears game and a couple of others and a preview of Monday Night Football. 23 after the hour on Snowman in the Morning on the Arena Sports Network.
iGo Car Sharing, dedicated to creating a robust and seamlessly integrated transportation system that's ubiquitous, convenient, and affordable for individuals, and provides the region with expanded economic development opportunities and exemplary environmental performance. Since its inception in 2002, iGo has worked to catalyze a set of transportation innovations that make it feasible and desirable for Chicago residents to get around conveniently and economically without having to own a car, and at the same time reduce vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas emissions. A mobility system that is independent of private car ownership, requires solutions that use resources efficiently, saves residents money, and decreases the individual and regional ecological footprint. It allows residents to easily choose between multiple modes of transportation to move from point to point quickly, inexpensively, and conveniently. Innovative information technology can integrate both trip planning and service payment across all types of transit, including rail transit, commuter rail, local bus, bus rapid transit, and more. Visit us online at igocars.org and find a location nearest you. iGo Cars, Chicago's only hometown nonprofit car sharing company.
Hey everyone, Ed Farmer here. As a closing pitcher for the Sox in 1980, I racked up 30 saves, the Sox record at the time. But thanks to a life-saving kidney transplant in 1991 from my brother Tom, someone else helped save me. Just like my organ donor, you too can give someone a second chance at life. In fact, as a registered organ donor, you can help save the lives of more than 25 people. Be a team player. Register to be an organ and tissue donor at DonateLifeIllinois.org.
Register today to be an organ and tissue donor at DonateLifeIllinois.org.
This is Snowman in the Morning, 25 beyond the hour on Monday, October 21st. Thank you all for joining us. Apologies for Friday not being able to come to you. We're brought to you by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. And by Slugmaster Baseball and Softball Hitting and Training Aids. Slugmaster, turning batters into hitters. Let me hit a couple of other games that were adventurous yesterday. Starting in Washington, D.C. 45-41, RG3 and the Redskins defeat the Bears. And the Bears may have been beaten a couple of other ways. They lose Jay Cutler to what is being said a groin injury. This prompts one very important question, and my good buddy Andre Morgan posted this on Facebook, and it's so true. Why do the Bears only have 2 quarterbacks on their roster? What if Josh McCown goes down? Then what? Then what are they going to do? I just want to know, what are they going to do if they lose McCown to an injury? But looking at the Redskins, even though they are 2-4, they were a yard short of 500 yards yesterday. The Bears had 359. The Redskins 499. So, quick math here. 858 yards of offense yesterday. Griffin 18 of 29 for 298, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Pardon me. Alfred Morris, 19 carries, 95 yards. RG3, 11 carries, 84 yards. Rob Halou Jr., 11 carries, 41 yards, but 3 rushing touchdowns. Matt Forte rushed for 3 touchdowns. He carried 16 times for 91 yards. McCown, 14 of 20, 204 yards, plus a touch. Cutler, before he went down with his injury, 3 of 8, 28 yards. This just seems to be the reverse of what the Bears' identity was once upon a time. They were led for many, many years, including the Lovie Smith era, by their defense. The offense was lacking, but you knew the defense would be able to make a couple of stops. My buddy Brett Hill posted on Facebook yesterday, as I watched the game and watched the Facebook feed from my friends. Brett Hill posted the most perfect comment late in the fourth quarter when he said, quote, "Paging Bears defense. Now would be a good time to get a stop." Close quote. Didn't do it. And if you're a Bear fan, that should frighten the daylights out of you going forward, because you still have to see the Packers twice, including next week. You still have to see Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson and company, who wore the most hideous uniforms I've ever seen in my life. One set of the most hideous uniforms I've ever seen in my life. You still have to see them. And you still have to see Megatron, Matthew Stafford and company. You still have to see Adrian Peterson. Those are all within your division. So the Bears have a lot of questions about that defense. A defense that was once and, Rusty mentioned it during the morning wrap-up. Peanut Tillman injured. Lance Briggs injured. And Lance Briggs didn't play after he went out in the fourth quarter. He didn't play the rest of the game. I'd be a little scared if I were Bears fans right now, especially with the way the Packers played yesterday and registering a 31-13 win. Aaron Rodgers is beginning to pick up steam. But a surprise, well, actually, partial surprise, Cincinnati beat Detroit 27-24 in Detroit. Andy Dalton and the Bengals seem to be getting their act together, which should frighten everyone in that division. The Pittsburgh Steelers have won 2 in a row. They get a last-second field goal from Sean Sweezum as the clock goes dead, and they win 19-16 over the defending Super Bowl champions, who have been a large disappointment at this juncture of the season. A large disappointment. Meanwhile, you have teams like Seattle and San Francisco living up to the hype, Denver and Indianapolis living up to the hype. You have a surprise lone undefeated team in the Kansas City Chiefs, and a large part of that is due to Andy Reid. The other part of that is Alex Smith that has the Chiefs at 7-0. Where did this come from? No one saw this coming. Meanwhile, a quick preview of tonight, you have the Minnesota Vikings with Adrian Peterson taking on Eli Manning and the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. Here's our question of the day presented by Gigahertz. Which team is more desperate for a win? The Minnesota Vikings or the New York Giants? Records say one thing, attitude says another. You'll see this posted on our Facebook page a little later today. Our question of the day presented by Gigahertz. If you're tuning along with this, and we thank you that you're doing so, who needs the win more, the Vikings or the Giants? And remember, in 2000, these two hooked up for the NFC Championship, which the Giants won 41-0. And I think I might have my good buddy Mike Lyle start joining me in the morning. You know, we had Lyle Files live on the afternoon locker room. We may move that to the morning. Haven't decided yet. 32 after the hour, 28 before the new hour. Take another break. When we come back, I'll tell you why the Chiefs are 7-0. And tell you more about tonight's matchup on Monday Night Football. And then we'll go inside of the journey, and I got a lot to talk about. When family turns a blind eye and a deaf ear, how does that affect your health? In 3 minutes.
What is the IHSA?
For more than 100 years, the Illinois High School Association and member schools have provided opportunities for students to participate in interscholastic athletics and activities, which produce vital education benefits.
Did you know the IHSA offers statewide championship series in 14 sports for boys and girls and sponsors statewide championships in 7 non-athletic activities? Did you know the IHSA licenses more than 10,000 contest officials in 13 different sports and that more than 300,000 students participate in IHSA sports and activities every year? Did you know activity programs only account for 1 to 3% of the overall education budget in a school? Did you know the nation's first sportsmanship mascot was created by the IHSA in 1997 with the birth of Attitude? Did you know students who participate in activity programs tend to have higher grades, better attendance, lower dropout rates, and fewer discipline problems than students that don't participate? Did you know activity programs provide valuable lessons for practical life situations? Teamwork, self-discipline, time management, dealing with adversity, and communication skills?
Now that you know, get in the game. Be a fan and join the fun. Support your local high school programs.
This message has been brought to you by the IHSA. Challenge yourself.
My name is Matt Rencars, and I'm the founder of Fusion Ions. We are so confident that you're going to love our bands. We want you to try one risk-free so you can see for yourself how powerful these bands really are. Don't wait. Go to FusionIons.com to find out how you can receive your very own free Fusion Ions band. Take advantage before they are gone. FusionIons.com. That's FusionIonz.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Snow, the CEO of the Arena Sports Network, and we hope that you are enjoying today's programming. But we would love to have your small business as a sponsor of our programming as we begin our sponsorship drive beginning today up until December 20th. If you want to be a presenting sponsor for as low as $150 a month, all you have to do is call 312-566-8105. Get the name of your business out there, 312-566-8105, and be a presenting sponsor of our programming on the Arena Sports Network, where every fan has a voice and every team has a fan.
Want to get your rankings in the truest form? Want to get the best college news without all the fluff? Then tune in to Swamp's Collegiate Sports Show. Join Kevin the Swamp Rat Horan as he ranks all the collegiate sports, from football to basketball and baseball to cross country, soccer, and so much more. Don't forget to visit www.kevinhoranrankings.com and sign up for his newsletter buzzing across the country. So if you want the best college news and rankings and see how the pros are outsmarted, tune in to Swamp's Collegiate Sports Show. The Swamp Rat ranks them right every Wednesday night at 8 on the Arena Sports Network.
You do a lot of thinking on a bike about your life, family, your dreams. One of my dreams came to me on a bike, to open up my own shop. So what happens when you complete a dream? Well, you just start thinking of the next.
Visit DrastichAgency.com or call 219-945-3040 and ask Joel Drastich how you can get all of your insurance under one roof. At Dr. Catherine and Associates, their goal is for people to be excited about learning how to save a life. They make CPR a fun and educational experience. Their classes are geared toward healthcare providers, teachers, sports coaches, families, and people of all ages. 75 to 85% of all out-of-hospital cardiac arrests happen at home. Are you prepared to help save a life? Contact Dr. Catherine and Associates today. They teach CPR 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, nationwide by appointment. Visit them at 820 East 87th Street, Suite 100 in Chicago, or give them a call at 312-623-2433. That's 312-623-2433. Or go online to learncprchicago.com. Dr. Catherine and Associates, in the community, for the community.
.36 beyond the hour on this Monday morning, a chilly morning if you're here in Chicago, but wherever you are in the region, across the nation, around the world, we thank you for joining us. This is Snowman in the Morning, beginning a brand new week. Oh, I love this song. Love this song. A little Blackhawks action going on here. Well, they are the defending Stanley Cup champions. My beloved Blackhawks, they won Saturday. Before we go inside Snowman's journey, the strangest thing that I saw, which worked, occurred Saturday when I saw the Oregon Ducks come out with pink helmets. Now, anyone that has watched the Oregon Ducks knows that they'll come up with uniform combinations that number in the high hundreds. When they came up with this one, it was the most inventive thing that I ever saw. I'm not going to say the helmets were hideous, because I actually grew to like it. But the reason they came out with the pink helmets, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And folks, if you had a family member that was taken by this terrible, terrible disease, later today there will be a link on the Arena Sports Network website where you can share your story, and I will share it throughout the remainder of the month here on the morning show and soon on the afternoon locker room. So if you have a family member that was taken away from you by cancer, be it breast cancer or, in my case, with my dad, prostate cancer, please share your story, and let's get some help, and let's end this disease. Let's end this terrible epidemic. This past Saturday, you heard at Fusion Power Hour talk about the epidemic that I have faced, battled, and defeated, and that is diabetes. But there was a problem. We had a little technical difficulty at the start of the show, so what I'm going to do tomorrow at 8 p.m. is I am going to replay it. I'm going to replay the show tomorrow at 8 p.m. in its entirety. And we want you all to pay attention, because Matt Rinkars and Donald Barrett have a lot of great information about diabetes. And if you know anyone that's been affected by diabetes, and you are listening to a person that has been through that war, you can beat diabetes naturally. And they'll show you and tell you how you can do it. Time to go inside the journey, presented by Fusion Ions Bands, as I present my journey to better health, better fitness, and better attitude. And the attitude portion is what I'm going to touch this morning. On the way down here to the studio, forgive me, this is going to be a little tough, but I promised myself today that I would touch a subject I swore to myself I would never touch on air. I will only change the names. Here goes. In the form of a question, have you ever had a family member close to you that 1 minute tells you to go after your dream, to go after what you want, and they encourage you to do so, and when you do, they turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to your efforts because it's not benefiting them financially? That's part of the storm I'm going through right now. I am not perfect, nor do I ever want to be perfect. Only God is perfect. And that's how it's going to remain. I have said this before on air, and I will continue to say it because I am proud of the mistakes I have made before. And I've made some mistakes. I have had people in my life that were supposed to be there for the remainder of it, but because of something stupid that I did, they were only there for a season. I had a dear friend who uses this saying all the time, and it's so true. There are people that are in your life for a reason. There are people that are in your life for a season, and there are people that are in your life for a lifetime. Having a lot of time to reflect after I got back from Iowa this weekend, I know now there are some people that should have been in my life for a lifetime, but I messed it up. I messed it up. And I'm going through a rough patch right now where a couple family members are turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to my efforts because I messed up with them, because I made mistakes with them. And it's all around money. I am not the most perfect being when it comes to money. I realize that. And I probably never will be. And I know this is hard for me to say it on air, but I forgive them. I forgive them. I forgive them for their attitude and the way that it's changed them since I became an adult. I now have my laser focus. I told you all before, and I'll say it again. I read an article that was published in an issue of Ebony last year featuring one of my favorite comedians, which is Steve Harvey. And the article is titled, Think Like a Mogul. And one of the lessons that Steve Harvey mentioned in that article was surround yourself with good, positive people. There are some negative people that are in my life, and I know there are some negative people that are in your life. And in some cases, you understand me? Some cases, it's going to be the hardest thing that you will ever have to do. But there are two things that you will need to do. You will need to forgive them, and you'll need to let them go. I've had people tell me so many times, and it was shown in the good book, that the worst persecution, that's the word I'm looking for, thank you. The worst persecution that you will ever go through is from the people closest to you. And it's bad that society has gotten to a point where it is so unhealthy mentally and so unhealthy spiritually that we persecute each other when someone decides to make a decision for themselves. Again, I reference Steve Harvey. When he said in an interview, and it's so true, he said this to his sons, and he repeats this message, and I repeat this message to all of you in the form of a question. Why are you following when you were clearly put on this planet to lead? Well, today I choose to lead. Each day we have a choice. Now, how does this tie into the journey? I will tell you how. I said at the introduction, this is my journey, and I'm putting it out there to physical, mental, and spiritual health. Matt Rincars, my friend, my dear friend, has been there with me. Liz and Donna, two of the most important people in my life, have been there with me. Every time I fall down, they say, Snowman, get back up. Ronald Murchison, another dear friend, tells me all the time, you can't let people stop you. That's my message this morning to everybody. You can't let people stop you from your ultimate goals, from your ultimate health, from your ultimate you. You can't let people bring you down. You can't let people try to take away. You know what? I put it in a phrase that I say all the time. And it's been said to me many times, and I finally get it. After so many years of having these words spoken to me, I finally get it when someone says, don't let anybody steal your joy. I had someone ask me recently, you know what, Brian? Why don't you just give this up and find a regular job where you can actually get paid a decent amount of times and you can get back on your feet? I'm going to answer that question because I wouldn't be happy. 41 years old right now. I'm 41 years old. I've learned a lot of things. And 99% of the things that I've learned in a very unconventional way. But you know what? I'll take those unconventional ways that I've learned a lot of stuff as opposed to the way I was quote-unquote supposed to learn. I will take all of the lessons that the Lord has put me through and continues to put me through each day, each hour, just so that I would know that He would bring me through it. I've had friends that have been there with me the whole ride, and I thank you all. I've had fans that have been there with me the whole ride, and I thank you all. Wake up, people. You have to remember the past is the past. We all have skeletons in the closet that we don't want out. The reason I'm choosing, and I'm choosing to do this, I am choosing to air my skeletons because I don't want this extra weight on me. The more I think about this stuff, the more I think about what has happened before this moment, this day, this time, I lose my focus on what my goals are. And my goals are physically, number one, to shred my stomach before Christmas. I know I said Thanksgiving, but I got to give it enough time. I'm shredding my stomach before Christmas. Number 2, at 41 years old, to outwork and be able to outwork everybody that challenges me. Number 3, to be there in every way, shape, form, or fashion for everyone that has been there for me. And number 4, even with the family members that are putting me through this terrible persecution right now, to be there for them. But they got to know right now I'm doing me. I can't be in a position to help anybody if I can't help myself. That's the bottom line, and that for sure is the truth. That's why I do this. So I can be there for the folks that have been there for me. When they call and say, Snowman, I need a listening ear, I'm right here. When they call and they say, can you help me out with something? I'm right here. That's why I am working as hard as I can with the team that's being put in place to build this empire. I would know, and many people have said this, and yeah, I will admit it's the truth. I would know no other way to go without a microphone. But you know what? I have my microphone. And I will soon have my empire. So that's my word for today. Don't let anybody steal your joy. And when you have people that try to bring you down and weigh you down, your health is affected. It really is affected. And what people don't realize is that mental health is one of the most important things we can have. Physical health is another important thing we can have. But the emotional and the spiritual health, man, that's just optimum right now. Later this morning, you'll see a blog attached to the Arena Sports Network website on the Snowman in the Morning page that will begin to chronicle my journey. And I told Matt that I was trying to do the 10-day challenge, and Saturday during dinner I dropped the ball. I know I dropped the ball. And Matt, I apologize. He wrote me a text message back that says, no problem, we'll get you to restart. And Matt, I make you this promise. I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to let you down. Liz and Donna, I won't let y'all down. And to the fans that tune in each morning, I'm not going to let you down either. Ronald Murchison, Professor Davis, I'm not going to let you guys down. I've let too many people down before. And I admit the hell out of that. Yes, I have let people down before. I have messed up. And if you want me to use a blunt term that was used toward me by a family member last evening, unknowingly I screwed people over, okay? I have made mistakes. But the greatest thing is when I am behind this microphone every morning telling people and letting them into my life, letting them know me and showing them, hey, you don't need to be perfect to be yourself. You don't need to be perfect to continue to achieve. And it will happen. For a doggone fact, it will happen. There are so many people in this country right now that judge others by their past. Stop it. Don't judge people by their past when you meet them. Because when you do that, and it's so true, and I've heard this phrase as well, when you judge people by their past, it gets in the way of your present. And if it gets in the way of your present, it will definitely cloud your future. I went to bed last night with a smile on my face, knowing what I know, knowing the fact that I'm turning everything around, and I got people in my corner that are actually there for me without condition, without question. Tomorrow I'll wrap up the Giants and the Vikings, talk a little baseball as we get ready for the World Series, and tomorrow inside the journey I'll get back to the physical side of being healthy. I want to thank some people. Let me thank Matt Rincars for tuning in, Ron Murchison for tuning in, Liz and Donna, I love you dearly, and to all the fans that have tuned in, thank you very much. Continue to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/snowmaninthemorning. Don't forget to tweet us at Snow Morning Show and tweet us at Arena Sports 13. It's been Snowman in the Morning, brought to you by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. And also brought to you by Slugmaster, baseball and softball hitting and training aids. Slugmaster, turning batters into hitters. I will talk to you all tomorrow, and I got a couple of exciting announcements in the morning. I will talk to you then. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. So long, everybody.